Tame it. We gon' do this the Bronco way. Look, it's about time. Reside.
Hey there, Bronco fans, and welcome inside the Chancellor Suite here at Luther Nick Gerald Stadium. We are with you on the Bronco Sports Network for this week's edition of the Pigskin Press Talk, talking Bronco football. Week 3 is in the books, Week 4 upcoming as FSU gets ready to hit the road to Petersburg, Virginia in Week 4 meeting with the Virginia State Trojans. I'm Andrew Chapman, FSU broadcaster, and joined on the show today as usual by the head coach Richard Hayes, and we've got the J crew in the building today. Julian Milligan, Bronco running back, and linebacker Jamari Slade here as well. Guys, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us. Welcome back home.
Good to be back.
Briefly home, right? Just a couple of practices before you hit the road again. But Coach Hayes, the Broncos coming off a multi-score win over Elizabeth City State, the Vikings, in the Down East Classic up at a neutral site, Rocky Mount, this past weekend. And it is a game that's been dominated by FSU over the last few seasons, multi-score wins and all of those. But it's a unique game in that it means a lot to that Viking fan base. They always show out in Rocky Mount for that one. What to you and the Broncos make that a unique game on the schedule, but one that you guys have had a lot of success in?
Well, I think it just starts with the fact that that classic started with Fayetteville State and Elizabeth City. We went into that game with a 16-16 record with Elizabeth City, and we kind of played that to the kids and let them know that there was some a little bit of bad blood between the two schools because of this rivalry. And so we attacked it like that, but we didn't want to let what happened to us the week before at Valdosta State kind of get us this week. We were off schedule once we got back from Valdosta. We didn't practice Sunday. We came in Monday and did what we would normally do on Sunday, so we were a little concerned as a coaching staff about that and how the guys would handle that first half of that game. But they handled it. We weathered the storm. We knew Elizabeth City was going to be fired up for the game, and we're excited to come away with a win.
Yeah, and the Broncos went into the halftime break just up 7-0, low-scoring defensive battle over the first 2 quarters. 24 points scored in the second half as the Broncos come away with the 31-point victory. You guys seem to shake off, though, any of those troubles from Valdosta State. Did you like your team's ability just to kind of reset mentally and get ready for conference play?
Well, yeah, like I said, it was the first conference game, and coming off that trip, we were a little concerned as a staff. I'm not sure they were concerned,
right.
But we were. Yeah. Just trying to get back into that flow of how we play Bronco football. We were totally outside of ourselves at Valdosta State, and just to see us get through that first half, we gave up a couple of first downs to that quarterback. He scrambled around, and that kind of concerned us. But once we settled down on defense and the offense got their confidence back up, we kind of pulled away from them like we thought we could.
And Julian, you and Bryce Council holding down the running game in that one, a really nice showing for you. 12 carries, 117 yards on the ground. From your vantage point behind the line, what were the big guys doing up front to help open up some lanes for you?
Big guys up front, they do what they do. They open up a lot of opportunities for me to go out there and show them special. They came into the game telling me, okay, follow behind me. I said, all right, I'm going to do that. And, I came away with that blessing, so I'm just thankful for them.
Obviously, you have Mike Todd there on the left side of the line. He's been a staple up front for the last few seasons now. But when it comes to the chemistry you've built, the communication with those guys up front, how well do you think that's come along over the last couple of seasons?
Well, we weren't really too big on transfers up front. So my guys are my guys from last year and this year. So we got that chemistry where they know how I play, I know how they're gonna block. It's starting to really show this year after we done matured more than we did last year.
And Jamari, a big game for you on the defensive side as well at the linebacker position. You were over the field so much that they had to go back, look at the tape, maybe even make a stat correction at the end of the game just to make sure they had you in on all those plays. But 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble. What was working for you so well in that one to get into the backfield?
Film. I was watching film a lot last week with Coach Hayes, Coach Matthews. So knowing what I was supposed to go out there and do, going out there and executing what I had to do.
Yeah, and Julian, you go back to last season, and you mentioned having a lot of the similar guys up front with you going into this season, but there was a big game for you against Winston-Salem State. That was a heck of a football game here at home that we got to call up in the broadcast booth. Must have been a lot more fun for you down on the field, but 2 touchdowns, nearly 100 yards in that game. That was one of your big college performances.
Yeah.
How did it increase your confidence as a player leading into the CIAA championship game and then ultimately this year?
Well, that Winston game actually funny because it was like going into it, I didn't expect to do all that.
Yeah.
So when it all came away, I was like, okay, I see what CI talking about, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be special.
Yeah, and it was really just an exclamation point on your season. And you know, Jamari, it was a breakout game for you at Elizabeth City State just this past weekend. But you know, not the first time you've made an impact in the game. You've been a part of the Bronco football program now for a few years. But you've been, you know, working alongside some guys who were staples with the program as well, and you've really gotten that opportunity this year. Who were some of those players that really helped aid you along when you first got to the Bronco program and that you kind of looked up to and to becoming a leader now?
One of them was Jerome Bentley. When I first got here, he took me under his wing, taught me the playbook, showed me what I had to do. I started off as a Sam when I got here, so I got moved to the box, and then alongside Gerald Simpson, he helped me last year, even when he got hurt, and I had to go in and step up and make some plays.
Yeah, heavy hitter Gerald Simpson for sure. And you know, you were a star player in high school out in Winston-Salem, Mount Tabor High School, the 2021 state champion. You were a 3-time all-conference player. Was it a little weird though for you when you get to the college game and you're not immediately taking as many snaps? You know, what was your kind of perspective on your development when you first got to Fayetteville State and what you needed to do to become a better player?
The transition from high school to college is very humbling.
Yeah.
So when I got here and I didn't get on the field immediately, I was shocked. But like I said, waiting, learning, looking at the guys that's been here ahead of you, you learn a lot. Especially when you sit back, get mental reps. We preach mental reps, get mental reps. So when you get those, you learn and you do what you do.
Yeah, sounds like patience was probably a big thing for you when you first got here, and now it kind of pays off. Your style of play, how would you describe it as a defender?
I would say I like downhill runs. Inside zone, read zone, downhill. I like to get downhill, make plays, tackle.
Yeah, and when you look at the NFL game, I don't know how much you watch NFL football, but is there a team whose play style you really like, or maybe a specific player that you watch growing up that you kind of model your game a little bit after?
Ray Lewis, he sideline to sideline, running, making plays on the ball, being disruptive.
Yeah. Julian, I'll pose the same question to you. You know, there's a ton of good running backs right now in the NFL, and they've kind of dominated the running game, at least over the first few weeks of the NFL season right now. Who are some of your running backs, though, that you might have idoled as a kid, or just somebody's play style that you really like?
A few. It's like, I could go Saquon Barkley, Le'Veon Bell, Bijan Robinson. You know, all those guys pretty explosive, quick first step, quick cuts. You know, change of direction very sudden. So it's like, I think that part of the game is really what separates you from everybody else, when you can turn a 5-yard game to a 50-yard touchdown. All it takes is one cut, making one guy miss. So it's like, when you watch guys like that play, it really shows you, okay, well, turn nothing into something.
Yeah, you know, Coach Hayes, there's definitely been an offensive uptick. It seems just in the first few weeks with the Broncos. You know, you throw out the Valdosta game, and you guys have put up over 30 points in the other two against Pembroke and now ECSU. You got David Barrows making catches. You got quarterbacks, a couple of them getting out there completing throws, and you have a pretty strong run game that goes over nearly 150 yards. Where would you say the balance is just right now between the entire offense and what you're seeing?
It's better than it was last year. I can start off saying that. We've grown up a little bit. Our guys are a little bit older. Coach Mack is doing a great job orchestrating the offensive side of the ball. He has the assistant coaches. Everybody's on the same page, and these kids are starting to buy in. That's what I see offensively, and I just think it's going to continue to get better the more they get to play. They haven't been together long. The offensive staff hasn't been together long. They haven't been running this offense very long. But the more more games we play, I think the better the output will be.
Yeah, the next test on the schedule for the Broncos, upcoming Virginia State, as we mentioned, on the road in Petersburg, Virginia, 2 o'clock kickoff in Virginia, north of us. They lost a close one against Winston-Salem State this past week, 15-14 final. Those results used to not mean a ton going back to last year when you're talking about a North Division and a South Division. Now everybody's wins and losses stack up on top of each other. But what are you guys expecting going onto the road against Virginia State, a team that was right near the top of that preseason coaches poll?
We're expecting a ticked off Virginia State team to show up, really ticked off. Last week was kind of a rivalry game for them. Them and Winston-Salem State have sort of a little rivalry going. We're kind of an afterthought as it relates to that. But, this will be our first time going to Petersburg. I've never been to Petersburg to play a game, so it'll be intriguing for me and the guys as well. So we'll get there, we'll do our normal routine, and Saturday we'll line down and play that football game, and the best team will come out on top.
Yeah, and Julian, in that upcoming game, you and Bryce Council, possibly DJ Alston, if he's able to get back in there, you guys just seem to jive really well together. You hop off the field, Bryce is out there, he's making productive carries.
Yeah.
How would you describe just the kind of bond that you guys have in the running back room, knowing that, hey, if you're off the field, one guy can take over for you?
Special.
Yeah.
Gotta say, I've never had nothing like this, quite like this before. Oh my gosh. Outside the ball, we're still the same thing. So it's just special to go into the field and we both make something special happen.
Yeah, and we'll be looking forward to following the action as well. FSUBroncos.com, where you can keep up to speed with all of the stats. If you're not able to make it out to Virginia, the Broncos look to go to 2-0 in CIAA play, coming off their victory against the Vikings last week in Rocky Mount. That'll do it for this edition of the Pigskin Press Talk on the Broncos Sports Network, Week 4 edition. A big thanks once again to Julian Milligan, head coach Richard Hayes, and of course Jamari Slade here with us on the show. I'm Andrew Chapman signing off. See you later, everybody. Go Broncos, and we'll talk to you next week.